predictability. The milkman, the paper boy, evening TV. Did I get delivered here? Somebody tell me, please. This whole world's confusing me. Clouds as mean as you've ever seen. Ain't a bird who knows you're true. Then a little voice inside you whisper, don't sell your dreams so soon. Everywhere you look, everywhere there's a heart, there's a heart, a hand to hold on to. Everywhere you look, everywhere there's a place of somebody who needs you. Everywhere you look, when you're lost out there and you're all alone, life is waiting to carry you home. Everywhere you look, everywhere you look,
When talking about the FCA internship, you kind of have to take everything you think you know about internships and just throw it out the window. It's really an experience unlike any other. You have multiple aspects that you wear a lot of hats. You're in the office planning events, planning tournaments, planning camps, all that stuff, but then you're also going and you're doing everything. So you're doing these camps, you're traveling across the country, hosting camps, going to tournaments with your club team. And really, if I could describe the internship in like one kind of sentence, it would be that you are not only pouring into others, but you're getting poured into yourselves from the leadership on staff.
So my LBC camp experience was one like never before. You know, I've gone from being a camper to a gopher to then a huddle leader and now an intern. And it was definitely really cool to experience camp in a position that I never dreamed I'd be in. You know, when I was a camper, I remember looking at the interns and thinking, wow, they are just the coolest people ever. You know, I just can't believe they're spending their summer this way. I would love to be like them, but there's no way I'll be bold enough in my faith one day to stand up and share my testimony with all the campers. So, and oh, not to mention, it was pretty sweet rolling up with my 7 best friends this summer and ready to teach the rest of the huddle leaders Dance Dance Revolution. We were so excited just for camp. You know, there's so much anticipation around it. And then it was like my worlds were colliding. My best friends from the summer, then my best friends in FCA growing up, all together at once. It was amazing. You know, all these people that I've grown in this journey with. So at camp, I did have the opportunity to share my testimony, and it was one of the coolest experiences ever. The Lord just spoke through me, and I prayed beforehand that His story through me would just impact these campers and be relatable to them. So then after, I think it was the day after, there was a group of girls that called me over, and they were like, Kati, we've been talking about your testimony, and we have some questions for you. And they just shared with me how it impacted them and asked me for some insight. And that was, in that moment, I was just like, God, you are so cool. And then my huddle was amazing. Saying bye at the end of the week there were many tears shed. And I was reading some of the letters that they wrote me, and it was just so emotional because while I was reading these letters, I was thinking to myself, this is what it's all about. Like, this is the purpose, to make an impact for His kingdom. In regard to my fun experience with camp, to say I was sleep deprived would be an under-exaggeration. We were just having too much fun to sleep. Like, there were not enough hours in the day. We were just taking in every moment together, playing lots of competitive spike ball. We played this game called Hocus Pocus. It was actually hysterical, but other than the fact that I was it half the time, so never mind, I hated that game, but everybody else loved it. And then, the last night, we pulled an all-nighter, and I have a lot of energy, but I was literally holding up my eyes open at one point, like, I'm awake. But then we made it to sunrise. We were all dancing and singing in the back of one of the other huddle leaders' trucks, and it was just so much fun. Then 6 a.m. slip and slide before we had to wake up our campers. My experience at camp this year was definitely electric.
So this summer I've had the opportunity to pour into kids a few different times. The first thing that comes to mind was down in Hilton Head. We were leading huddles, working a clinic down there, and the first day, our first huddle, I was just like, hey, does everyone know about Jesus, and does everyone know like about His story? And some kid was like, no, I don't. So I looked down and was like, you know what, buckle up, Buttercup, like I got a story for you. So I was able to tell him about Jesus, introduce him to the gospel and like what Jesus did for us on the cross. And so that was super cool. And then throughout the whole week, like being able to see him like soak in all the information and like the huddles that we were talking about. That was just a cool experience, and then just to think like maybe that manifests itself into a relationship with God, and then like me being a part of his testimony, like the start of his God story, is super cool. The second time was at camp. I was able to share my testimony. We worked on a testimony workshop down here at in the office, and then worked on it, wrote it out, and once we got to camp, I was able to give it, and it was cool because I remember being a camper and listening to college athletes give their testimonies, and how cool it was that they were living out their faith as a college athlete. And so I just hope that my story will have the same impact on at least one of the campers that was sitting there listening to mine.
So I had two big takeaways this summer. One was kind of just being myself and open with my faith and being vulnerable about that and just being the man that God intended me to be. So my second takeaway was also just the friends that I made and the impact they'll have later in my life, and just continuing to help me grow.
Coming into this summer, I was really nervous. I was in a season of my life where I really needed to be poured into, and I was scared that I wasn't going to get that. But by week one, I was blown away by the people that I was surrounded with. I was being loved on, I was being comforted, supported, poured into the way that I needed to be poured into by the interns and the staff. And it's just been a super cool way to know that these people that I didn't know 8 weeks ago are now some of my best friends, and that they have poured into me the way that I needed to be poured into. Specifically during our huddle leader training at LBC camp, we did prayer hands where we were able to write down things that we needed to be prayed for on our hands, and then just physically like lay your hand on someone's hand just to pray over that person. And I had person after person coming up to me and saying, "Hey, I love you, I'm praying for you." And it made me feel so loved, it made me feel so cared for, so poured into, that I literally like thanked the Lord so much for the way that he had given me these people to love me and support me and pour into me the way that I needed to. And those are memories and moments that I will treasure in my heart for the rest of my life.
My favorite memory this summer was definitely our trip to Hilton Head, South Carolina for our lacrosse day camp. It was a super awesome trip where we got to do a lot of fun things and go to the beach and just hang out with a bunch of really cool people. Shout out to the Hopman family for being such awesome hosts. But it was definitely my favorite trip because we got to work with a lot of first-time lacrosse players, mostly kids who had just picked up the stick for the first time on the first day of camp. So it was really cool just to see their curiosity for the sport and their love for the game grow in such a short period of time. I think that throughout the summer we've worked with a lot of great lacrosse players at a lot of different ages. So it was just really cool to work with kids and have zero expectations and just see them improve in such a short period of time. One more favorite memory that I have to add is definitely seeing Addison cliff jump in Stowe, Vermont. It was hilarious just to kind of like pressure him into it and then see him finally make the jump, and he's flailing his arms all over the place and everything. But yeah, those are my top two favorite memories.
This internship has impacted me in crazy ways that I don't even understand. From being on the lacrosse field to being in the car singing songs to sitting on the couch at home, my faith has really been challenged, and it's been awesome. Jesus has just been everywhere in every moment. Being a pastor's child, coming to a Jesus-centered summer, I thought it was gonna be super easy, but it actually challenged my faith in crazy ways. Being surrounded by fellow lacrosse players that are also Christians and making long-lasting relationships has been amazing for me. This summer has allowed me to have the opportunity to change my heart towards the Lord and allow me to desire to spread the word of the Lord instead of just coasting. This summer has been a summer that I expected just to be a bunch of lacrosse and some fun and a little bit of Jesus, but it actually was a summer that has actually changed my heart fully, and I am forever grateful for FCA Lacrosse summer internship for that.
This internship with FCA Lacrosse is a unique opportunity unlike any other. It has allowed me to embrace new experiences, so my advice to you new interns and the next coming summers is to embrace those new experiences and be comfortable being uncomfortable. You're going to be asked to do things like sharing your testimony, living with new people who will become your best friends. It is the most awesome experience, and leading kids spiritually on and off the field, everything, it's just so awesome. And if you've never done it before, I just encourage you to embrace those new things. And you are here for a reason. God has brought you here and you have undeniable talents that He has given you to use this summer. So take full advantage of the opportunity and light it up.